So today is 3-2, relationships between two quantitative variables. We just did an activity about how many candies we could grab versus what the length of our hand was, like the width of our hand. Those are two quantitative variables. And we have definitely made scatter plots from way back in our algebra days. The scatter plot shows the relationship between two quantitative variables measured on the same individuals. The values of one variable appear on the horizontal axis. The horizontal axis is really where the explanatory variable needs to go. If you want to like kind of take a little note down there, that's where the explanatory variable needs to go. And the other values appear on the vertical axis. So it's basic, right? Today is really just a little bit of dipping our toes in the water of scatter plots, of learning how to describe them. You know, we did SOCV for how to describe like the dot plots and stuff. I don't really have an acronym for you. It's just the direction, the form, the strength, and if there's any outliers. So first thing first, let's talk about the direction of this particular scatter plot right here. Would you say that the direction, like if I was to connect them, is more positive or more negative? Remember from algebra, like positive goes up from left to right and negative goes down from left to right. What would you say on this guy, positive or negative? I would agree that this is positive, so we'll make our little notes like this. We'll say the direction is positive. And then when they ask you for the form, they're really asking like linear or nonlinear, and that takes a few examples to get used to. But what do you think about this? You know, curvy or straight? Like what would you say about that data? Yeah, it's pretty curvy. So we will say that it is curved for form. You know, the form is curved. Sometimes on your homework it'll say nonlinear, you know, but I think this data really fits the curve. Now, based off of that, though, saying that it has a curve pattern, they want to know what the strength of that guy is. Like, are the dots really close to the pink curve that I've drawn, or is it like far apart? So there's like a strong association, a moderate association, or a weak. What would you gauge on this guy right here? Strong, moderate, or weak? I'd say that's pretty strong, right? The dots don't vary much for the curve, you know, so that is definitely a strong association, strong strength. And does it look like any of these dots are outliers? I don't think so. No apparent outliers. You kind of just got to play it by ear on the homework, because some people are like, well, maybe this one is an outlier. You know, it's like, I'd say no apparent outliers on that guy right there. So that's pretty much the gist of the whole lesson right there, guys. You know, it's just describing a scatter plot. So let's do another one. Direction, is this guy positive or negative? Boom, that guy is negative, because the dots are going down as you go from left to right. Negative, negative. But what would you think on this one? More linear or more curved? I would say that's more in a linear pattern. You know, it doesn't like curve anywhere, you know, so it is linear. It's got a linear pattern. But the reason why you probably called it low-key linear is because of the strength. You know, it's like, how strong is that? Would you believe that those dots are much further away from like the line that I drew than that curve before? So, but it's still not weak. Would you agree with that? It's not a weak strength. I would call it moderate. You know, it's like, it ain't bad, you know, but it sure ain't strong. Like, they'd be really tight together if it was strong. And then outliers, I don't think this guy has any outliers on this one either. There's no apparent outliers. No apparent outliers. And then the last one, they just wanted us to make one. We did one in the activity anyway. They say, is there a relationship between the amount of sugar in grams and the number of calories in movie theater candy? Here's the data. If you go to Canvas on the agenda, you will see that I have the data for us, if I can get back there. So I want to show you also, not only do I have our activity data here today, you'll see this on practice 3-2 data. When you get to homework questions, there's two different problems where I typed it all out. Actually, the textbook typed it all out for us. So, but today for this practice one, we'll just click this dude right here, and let's copy and paste that into the collaborative applets. So we are back. I'm going to start fresh for the video people. If you were on applets, right here, you'll go to two quantitative variables. Two quantitative variables. And usually the explanatory is basically like, hey, those are the X guys, right? So that would be the first one they did, so that would be sugar. And then the calories would be the second guy. So we'll type those dudes into the applet. Sugar in grams and calories. And then just copy and paste these guys up. Because, man, if you get off a nugget, you know, it's like they have to be matched up with their partner. Like the 45 has to go with the 450 for them to be plotted right. So that's why I just typed them out for you. So since 45 comes first, come on, paste it in there. And the other guy comes second. It's all good in the neighborhood. So copy these, Control C, paste, and make a scatter plot. Control V, begin analysis. Whew! Look at that dude. Let's see what they ask us. Let's go through, and I bet they ask us to describe it, right? So make a scatter plot. We did it. Let's describe it. Let's talk about the first thing, which is what? The direction, positive or negative. What do you think on this scatter plot? It's kind of rough, you know, but it's just like, would you say more positive or more negative? That's definitely positive. So direction, you can abbreviate it with a D as positive. Form, linear or non-linear, you know? Yeah, the reason why it's tough to tell is because the strength is definitely weak. Are you with me on that? Like the strength is weak. So I would still call that linear, and the strength is for sure weak. So, which one do you feel is the outlier? On the homework program, they will like ask you what the value of it is. So you feel this guy right here is the outlier, or this guy, maybe even both of those dudes? Probably this dude, huh? So on homework, you'd have to say like 80, 790, or whatever that, oh, if you click on it on the applet, it'll show you. Let me hover over it with a mouse. So 79, 790 is an outlier. You know, that's like what they do on the homework program and stuff like that. So is that cool? You know, just describing it. There's just a few questions like that on homework, and then the rest is kind of review from last time. So well, let's get that puppy mowed down.